The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to the festival custom. After they had completed its days and as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions, and all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So as I said at the beginning of Mass, at least taking a break from our Lent and our readings from the Gospel of John, and we'll celebrate the Solemnity of Saint Joseph, the protector, father of Jesus. Next week on March 25th will be the Annunciation, so it'll be another time when we'll take off from Lent. By the way, that Mass on Thursday, March 25th, will be in the evening at what used to be the old Annunciation Church in Frackville. So to give you a heads up on that too, for those that have been coming up to Frackville for Mass. What must St. Joseph been thinking and feeling? At the very beginning, in the Gospel of Matthew, we hear St. Joseph learning about Mary being pregnant with child. Obviously, he knows that he has nothing to do with it. Wants to divorce her quietly, and some commentators, and they're allowed to hold this belief that's not against church teaching, that they believe that the reason why St. Joseph wanted to divorce Mary quietly was because, he knew, or at least he thought, she was unfaithful, but didn't want her to succumb to the ridicule and punishments. But as my one professor in the seminary told me, or told us in class, what divorce is ever quiet, right? There's no such thing. So again, another way of looking at that passage was that St. Joseph wanted to divorce Mary quietly because he knew something special and something from God has happened, and he felt unworthy to be a part of it. Or that he just assumed that he was not a part of this divine plan. I really think that's the way to go. That's how you approach that passage. But just imagine then, as we continue and we look at the Gospel of Luke, when it's time for Mary to give birth, they do so in a manger. Again, what was St. Joseph thinking and feeling at that moment? I would imagine he was feeling disappointed. Here it is, this special child from God, and this is the best I can do for him. Fathers, can you relate to that? Maybe even mothers too, but especially fathers. This is the best I can do for him. I'm sure there had to be moments where the evil one is just tempting him and discouraging him. And then today's gospel passage, again, also from Luke, at the very end of what we call the infancy narratives, the boy Jesus stays behind Jerusalem. And back in the day, they traveled in caravans for their protection, because if they traveled by themselves, they were often succumbed to robbers and thieves. That was very common back then. So they traveled in caravans, a large group of people. They just assumed that Jesus was in the caravan with them. Honest mistake. Honest mistake. But then as they're traveling, and Mary goes to Joseph and says, hey, where's Jesus? I don't know, I thought he was with you. And Joseph, hey, I don't know, I thought he was with you. They go back, and maybe we assume that they go back by themselves. Again, danger. But they have to, because Jesus is not with them. And they go back and they search in 3 days. Interesting number there, right? 3 days. They finally find him in the temple. Again, what was Joseph feeling and thinking? As Mary tells Jesus that they were looking for him with great anxiety. So they were really, really worried, as any parent would worry about losing a child. What was St. Joseph feeling there? God, I lost your son. Imagine having that conversation in prayer with God. St. Joseph knows very well and very intimately our worries and our discouragement. My spiritual director, when I went to take the kids on a 2-day retreat this year, doing this whole COVID thing, I was really nervous about it, But I knew it was going to be a powerful retreat, and it was for them. And I'm glad we did it. But I was really worried about it. And I remember my spiritual director saying, go to St. Joseph, the protector. As we heard in the opening prayer, how Joseph was the beginnings of human salvation and the beginning caretaker, of our human salvation. And he's continuing to be our protector now, especially our protector from when those discouragements come in, when we don't see things the way God does, and we might be disappointed in ourselves. Go to St. Joseph and go to him to protect you and your families, and your friends. And most importantly, go to him for protection against the assaults of the evil one. St. Joseph, pray for us. May God bless you.